Here's my name and my ID card. Good afternoon. I did my presentation on section 8.3 from chapter 8 of the Psychology 2E book for the class. General Psychology. The name of my presentation is going to be Problems with Memory and Understanding, Forgetting, and Interference. Move to the next slide. So this is the introduction, my presentation, and memory problems. Of course, as everyone knows, our memory is not perfect. I promise you, I can tell you that's the truth. We tend to make mistakes when recalling events, or we misremember them, or we totally forget how they happened, or that they happened at all. Section 8.3 investigates why these things happen. So how do we make memories, and what is it called when we make them, or we recall memories? When we form a new memory, it's called construction. That's what, in the book, chapter 8.3, that's what they called it. When we recall old memories, it's called reconstruction. When we recall old memories, we tend to make changes to them, or we'll modify them. Sometimes we won't. Sometimes they'll stay the same. It ain't that we intend to do that. It's just how our brain works. Sometimes we distort the facts of the memory, and it happens when memories, old memories, get replaced by new ones, or they get stored together and they're similar. Or somebody else tells you about another part of the event that you witnessed, or something like that. Which brings me to suggestibility. So suggestibility is when an external source of information leads to the creation of false memories. Our memory is vulnerable, and especially to the power of suggestion. For example, watching the news and seeing and hearing a suggestion about an event that occurred that maybe you've seen, it could create or change that memory just by watching the news. They may give you a new perspective about it, and it may change your memory of that event. That's suggestibility. Memory problems also affect the judicial system. It don't just affect us or school work. It affects all parts of life. And the judicial system, an eyewitness can misidentify, either an event, a suspect that is involved in a crime. They may appear to be very confident about it, and they try to provide, everything that would make you think that they really, are real confident about their selection, but they could still be wrong, and they may have misremembered it, or, our memory is susceptible to errors. This is why eyewitness testimony and our memory is not always reliable. Don't forget, I got them all over things, post notes. Forgetting is the loss of information from long-term memory. It happens to all of us, and it can happen gradually or suddenly. Believe it or not, it can be a good thing. It can also help you to focus more. If you forget about a certain one memory and then think about focusing on just another one. Why does it happen? Sometimes it happens from just brain trauma or disease or amnesia, or it could be an encoding failure. It's hard to remember something if it never got stored in the first place. Psychologist Daniel Schachter offers 7 sins of memory that explains different reasons for forgetting. Also, interference plays a big part in forgetting as well, and I'll speak about that in just a second. I'm first going to talk about, I spoke about amnesia a while ago as being a part. Amnesia is memory loss due to brain injury, trauma, or psychological trauma. Someone with this issue would be like an Alzheimer's patient. There's two different types. You got anterograde amnesia, where a person with this type of amnesia cannot form new memories. Then you got a retrograde amnesia. A person with this type of amnesia cannot remember past events. Amnesia makes it hard to create, keep, or recall memories, and it's a bad disease to have, and the folks that have it, it's a sad situation. They can't remember things before the incident happened, or they can't remember after. But it damages the hippocampus and the thalamus. Damage to those parts of the brain, that's what causes it. Almost forgot. Speaking of interference from the last slide. Proactive interference occurs when old information stops you from remembering newly learned information. Then we have retroactive interference that occurs when newly learned information stops you from being able to remember old information that you have stored in your memory. I'm at the conclusion here. Forgetting and interference is going to be a normal part of our lives. We just need to remember that our memory is fragile and it's flexible and it can change. Understanding how these problems work helps us use our memory more wisely. I used just the book far as my reference, which was, like I said, Psychology 2E, OpenStax. Thank you for joining today, and have a good one.